talk to you guys about something that's kind of interesting to me? This is going to be a little bit deeper layer of philosophy, and there's also some potholes that I could step in here rhetorically. So I want to disclose up front that I'd like a pass, but there is something I'd like to tell you. The greatest experience that I ever had in my time in fighting was coaching the Ultimate Fighter. And it wasn't just the relationships and how close our team were and the new friends that you get to meet and lead people on a journey that you then stay connected with for life. It wasn't just that. When I was in college, I got a degree in something that is largely hard to apply to the real world called sociology. And I majored in sociology because I was told by many people that sociology was an easy thing to get a degree in that many athletes do because your schedule's a little loaded up with the athletic side. And if you can get a break in the class, it's a smart thing to do. At any rate, turned out I really liked it. I got into it. It was fun. I found some of the things very fascinating, but an actual sociological experiment is almost impossible to do or find. It's almost impossible to fund, just by example. So when I was coaching the Ultimate Fighter, this was a sociological experiment at the highest of levels. And even though it was viewed and it was set up to be a tournament, if you go and look what happened, if you look at the dynamic, if you look at the fact of how close everybody is while being on camera, while being away from their families, then you've got the team themselves. They don't have so much as a television set or a newspaper, let alone a phone call to make. And the first ever Ultimate Fighter I did went over 2 holidays. Thanksgiving, and if you consider Halloween a holiday, I think I'm stretching that term, but you get my point, particularly if you have kids. You can't so much as make a phone call to them. We had one fighter whose wife gave birth, and the production considered making an exception for him and decided not to. So, I mean, this was a sociological experiment where people are going to get stirred up a little bit. You are going to have a psychological component to this. If your heart is broken on day one, but you continue on through the process, so now you have to live in the house with all these other guys whose goal is still alive, not to mention you're living there with the guy who took your dream from you. I mean, there's a lot on this, and it's very hard to witness these things, but being there firsthand, it was something I could never bring the audience. This was no side of what the show or the producers were looking for. This was just something that I could appreciate and that I was observing because of what I got my degree in. So, fast forward to UFC 249. We're in this very weird time. And the UFC has done such a great job. I don't know that they've fully gotten the credit they deserve. They have done such a great job of not only taking the rules of the Associated Boxing Commission, not only doing that, which is very heavily regulated, but Dana White personally moved the goalpost 3 times in terms of what he's doing. And one of the things that he's doing is a negative COVID test for anybody, this includes himself, anybody that's going to set foot in that building. It does not matter if you're handling a camera, if you're sweeping the place up at the end of the night, if you're a cornerman, if you're one of the athletes, you get it. I can't say anybody any clearer. You must submit a negative one within 7 days. And the reason I found that interesting on a deeper level, imagine if all 22 athletes come in negative. Imagine if we don't lose a fight. That would be very interesting compared to some of the information that we've been given on the news. You're literally taking 22 people from all over the world who have openly ignored the social distancing ban. I mean, they had to. They're training. They're training to go in there. If we don't lose a fight, I mean, that would be very fascinating. This might be the only study that's been done essentially at random, globally, by people that ignored the ban. I don't have a finished thought on this. I don't have a point at all. Perhaps I have a prediction for you that we're going to get some kind of news that we don't like before this fight. I think that would be a reasonable prediction that somebody, somewhere, gets pulled off. But if they don't, could you at least concede to me that's a little bit interesting?